everybody, so we're back talking some more Season 3 of Chucky on the channel. Now that the first episode got all the introductions out of the way, now we're able to delve a little bit deeper into the actual conflicts of the season, especially now that Jake, Devin, and Lexi know that Chucky is in the White House. But that is the big conundrum. How the hell are these three going to get into the White House to stop Chucky at all? This week in particular in Season 3, I think could cause some uproar amongst fans as far as who exactly Chucky takes out, because even I was pretty bummed out by the decision on who they chose to kill in this one. Interestingly, but also conveniently, the easiest course of action for Jake, Devin, and Lexi to try and get access to the White House is Grant. Grant is right around the exact age as them, so why not try and dig up some info on him and then have Lexi seduce him in a sense, trying to connect with him over them sharing trauma since they both have lost loved ones, which is a method that does work quite effectively. I also did think it was fun that Jake and Devin are doting over these conversations between the two of them and giving their own commentary to the situation. Now, one of the minor questions that came out of episode 1 is why did Henry name Chucky Joseph? And it actually is a sad reason why he decided to name him Joseph. While Grant is comforting Henry, we find out they also had another brother that they lost who also was named Joseph. I really do feel for Henry. We've seen so many times over the course of this franchise all these kids that are affected by Chucky in some shape or form. Usually they have some level of trauma afflicted on them by Chucky, but more often than not, usually their lives are pretty normal beforehand, whereas Henry's life is already filled with trauma even before Chucky came into his life, and it's now just gotten much worse. Like seeing Chucky murder your friend Teddy, or having you curse at the dinner table over some pancakes. Speaking more on Teddy's death, that does introduce us to another player in Season 3, CIA operative named Price, whose whole mission is to investigate the mystery swirling around his death in the White House. This guy is pretty intimidating just in his initial appearance, wasting pretty much no time at all getting down into the investigation, very quickly finding the tiny little footprints, but we still have no idea where this letter opener is. I mean, we know where the letter opener is, and unfortunately, we're going to be seeing it used in quite possibly the most violent horror death ever involving a letter opener. Of course, Chucky's franchise is no stranger to these crazy, over-the-top, gnarly kills, but this one in particular might be a contender for one of my favorites just because of how over-the-top and nasty it is. There's one kill in this season in particular in part 1 that I think rivals it, which will come next week, but this one also just insanity. When Chucky uses the letter opener to slice Samantha's throat in the Oval Office, it is so nasty, more so because it isn't a quick death or anything. It lingers for a very long time and just gets more gory and over the top. I mean, her head basically just almost comes off completely. She's nearly decapitated. What truly helps sell this over-the-top kill, though, is Chucky's reaction to the kill. He does have some funny dialogue. On top of that, having an upside-down perspective was a nice touch to cap off this extremely nasty kill. What's such a fascinating angle about the fact that Chucky keeps killing all these people in the White House is the fact that they're gonna keep covering it up. Unlike in a lot of other instances, it is way easier for Chucky to get away with doing all of these kills when you have someone like Bryce coming in, covering up the desk, wrapping up Samantha's body, and having it driven off in the back of a truck, keeping pretty much everybody in the dark about what's going on inside the White House, including the president, which I don't know how the president doesn't realize there's all these crazy shenanigans going on inside of his building, but you know, it is what it is. It also seems like this operation that Jake, Devin, and Lexi are putting together to befriend Grant is working out quite well. They get to meet up with him at a coffee shop. I feel bad for Lexi in this situation because she has to pretty much force herself to engage with Grant, even though he is kind of douchey. But you gotta do whatever it takes to get this mission done. It's quite a duality going on in episode 2. You have this forced romance between Grant and Lexi, and then you have actual romance, steamy romance with Jake and Devin, which I'm sure is gonna satisfy a lot of fans of their relationship. For a moment there, it does get pretty intense, but yet again, someone always has to come in and ruin it. This time it's Miss Fairchild. It makes it even worse though, because she is giving the kids this talk about sex education. Not the kind of talk you want to have with anybody, although it did seem like it was implied that Devin knew a whole lot more about what's going on sexually than Jake did. Now earlier on, we did see Price putting the pieces together on what exactly is going on in the White House, and he's kind of sort of on the right track. I don't think you could ever assume that it's a killer doll. It seems like just based on his descriptions to the president's wife, he's kind of on the right track describing Chucky pretty much. He tells her he figured out that the angle was way too low for Teddy to have been the one that shot himself, but then he describes the type of person he thinks that did it. He's a professional with no respect for human life, and he's extremely dangerous, which, I mean, that is Chucky. The way that this conversation was playing out while Miss Fairchild was waiting in the Oval Office did have me extremely worried. We have seen this show before, not afraid afraid to make ballsy moves, taking out characters that we loved. This one might be one of their most ballsy moves yet. I was so upset that Chucky actually strangles Miss Fairchild to death with the American flag. And it's the audacity to desire to make these kids orphans again, following up with calling them on the phone to antagonize them some more and letting them know that he killed Miss Fairchild and he's waiting for them to come to the White House. While I am extremely disappointed that Miss Fairchild was killed off in such a way, there's one major aspect of this kill that kind of defies logic, but I can't touch upon it until next episode. So it's something that we're going to revisit in episode 3, more talk about this death. But yeah, overall, episode 2, I did think it was a pretty solid episode. I am bummed out, though, that Miss Fairchild had to die in the end. Either way, show your thoughts down below in the comment section. It's part of the fun this time, that conversation with you guys in the comment section down below. Thank you guys, as always, for videos. I always do appreciate it. Make sure you like on the video and also subscribe to the channel. So update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. Next time, see you guys later.